Welcome back. President Joe Biden walking back his comment that Facebook is killing people. That was, of course, the popular phrase over the weekend from President Biden and his press person, Jen Psaki, and even Biden's Surgeon General parroting that notion. Listen.
It's not enough. Is that we are still, despite some of the actions that they have taken, seeing significant spread of misinformation. This health misinformation is hurting people's health. It's costing them their lives.
Well, Facebook lashed back at the administration, saying that they were not the reason that Biden's vaccination goal has been missed. Earlier, the White House had said that they've told Facebook to remove or censor anything that the White House deems is misinformation about the COVID virus. Well, today, President Biden attempted, as we said, to clarify his remarks, saying that Facebook is not killing people, that people on Facebook, individuals, were killing people by spreading misinformation. Let's bring our panel back in to talk about this and more. So, Bobby, what is your take on all of this? And specifically, the White House admittedly and being involved in pointing out what they deem to be misinformation and helping to censor people on Facebook.
Well, right. And first, let me address this walk back, because the White House and the Democrats are always going to push. The left is always going to push. And why? Because they're used to it. They're used to getting away with this stuff. And so what's so amazing is that they're getting pushed back now. People have been tired of this stuff. They can't stand it. And now all of a sudden, Joe Biden has to apologize. But the scariest notion that is out there is this whole idea of state-run media. That is basically what we're seeing, where the White House can tell a social media big tech giant that, hey, we think this is misinformation. You need to start banning people. We saw the media acting separately, big tech acting separately, the White House acting separately. But now this is collusion, and it's the scariest thing I've seen in a while.
I mean, Ford, what about that? It is really concerning that the Biden administration willingly admitting that they are advising and telling Facebook what can and cannot be kept on their platform.
Well, look, that when you coordinate with private business and delegate the powers of the government to private industry, that's not only a First Amendment violation, that's a slippery slope to fascism. But let's step back for a second. Let me get this straight. The Biden administration, the very same people who drowned this country for 5 years in deranged conspiracy theories like the Russia hoax, now deems themselves competent to censor the internet and Facebook for what they see as misinformation. This is the height of hypocrisy.
Yeah, and let's actually listen to what President Biden did have to say when he attempted to walk it back, Melanie, and I'll get your response.
Facebook isn't killing people. These 12 people are out there giving misinformation. Anyone listening to it is getting hurt by it. It's killing people. It's bad information. My hope is that Facebook, instead of taking it personally that somehow I'm saying Facebook is killing people, that they would do something about the misinformation, the outrageous misinformation about the vaccine. That's what I meant.
Okay, so just to fill in the blanks here, Melanie, what he is referencing when he talks about 12 people that are primarily responsible, 12 people in the whole world, I guess, for spreading misinformation about COVID. There was this report that came out from the Center for Countering Digital Hate that pointed to these 12 people as the individuals spreading this disinformation. So that was his attempt to walk back his comments.
And, I think it's indicative of a bigger problem with the left, thinking that they're your mommy and daddy. I find it insulting that the left, President Biden and his administration, really thinks that people are taking their health information off of Facebook. Like, who is doing that? Who is not doing their own research and going to their doctors rather than taking advice from somebody on social media? I find that insulting. I find it to be a power grab and a major violation of our rights. And it's a slippery slope. I think it's a horrible thing that they are doing.
Yeah, and not only that, I mean, I was wondering if Vice President Harris is going to be one of the individuals who will now be censored or banned, because we know that she said this back in 2020 when it came to vaccines, specifically because they would come from the Trump administration. Can we pull up the sound from Vice President Harris talking about vaccines?
If the Trump administration approves a vaccine before or after the election, should Americans take it, and would you take it?
If the public health professionals, if Dr. Fauci, if the doctors tell us that we should take it, I'll be the first in line to take it. Absolutely. But if Donald Trump tells us that we should take it, I'm not taking it.
So, Ford, I saw you shaking your head. What about that?
Well, look, if the Biden administration wants to understand why they're not making the vaccine numbers, they should look at themselves in the mirror, because they have no one to blame them because themselves. As you just heard then candidate Harris basically say, I'm not going to trust the vaccine because of Trump. When I look at the CDC numbers, the media wants to tell you it's Republicans who aren't taking the vaccine, but the lowest per capita demographics are African Americans and Hispanics, two groups that predominantly vote Democrat. So if you want to know why we're not making the vaccine numbers, the Biden administration only has to blame them, but no one to blame but themselves.
Yeah, and Bobby, when it comes to censorship and censoring what people are saying, on social media and this misinformation, the Biden White House is taking it a step further, and we can bring up what Jen Psaki had to say in reference to people being banned from certain platforms. She said if you're banned from one, you should be banned from all of them, and if we could pull that up.
You shouldn't be banned from one platform and not others for providing misinformation out there.
And that misinformation being determined, Bobby, by the Biden administration.
Right, you're right, exactly. Can't trust the Trump administration, but the Biden administration, you're all in. And I want to know who these 12 are, because I think all of us on this panel today have gotten blocked, banned, or throttled at some point. So, I mean, we're all contributors to misinformation, according to the White House. It sounded like Biden went out with some quick talking point. Oh, yeah, let's blame 12 people in the whole world, and that'll solve it. It was just a ridiculous statement. But again, it shows the collusion. Now, Jen Psaki, on that clip that you just played, saying that we should ban people from all platforms, and big tech is going right along with it, I'm sure. This is really scary, and it shows the end of debate and discourse and discussion. People have differing opinions. But what all of this is saying is that, nope, there's no differing opinions anymore. It's either our way or you're blocked, banned, throttled, you're out.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to fight.
And Melanie, not only that, as we've seen proven time and time again already, some of what was, said to be misinformation earlier on has now proven to be true. So, you determine something that is misinformation and not true, only to find perhaps later that somebody was wrong.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up. That it's misinformation until it's not. The origin of the Wuhan flu. Back in the day, they used to tell us that cigarettes were super safe. Follow the science until it wasn't safe. Like there's a lot of things that fall into that category. How much health information evolves on a regular basis? First, carbs are good for you, then they're not. Then butter's good for you, then it's not. Coffee's good for you, then it isn't. So, these things continue to evolve. This vaccine is brand new, and I don't want the Biden administration deciding for me based on how the political wind blows, what information I have access to and what I don't. It's really scary.
Yeah, that's the bottom line in the whole conversation. Thank you very much. Panel, stand by, though, because we're not done yet. We have other great topics coming up. But